Well, hello there, DevCentral community. It is that time again. It is Thursday, 12:30 Pacific, and this is DevCentral Connects. We are live streaming to YouTube and LinkedIn and Twitter, Periscope. And today we're back on Facebook. So, Jason, it's good to see you. How's it going, man?
It is going quite well. Thank you very much. And yeah, we're Facebook, and it's like we got to find all the platforms, and we'll just stream to all of them.
Yeah, all the places.
Except Twitch. Apparently we don't have an audience there, so which is fine. It's okay.
That's all right. Hey,
maybe we just need to incorporate some Switch or Xbox into the show.
Yes, yeah. If we, I don't know. Maybe we could use like a PlayStation to configure a big IP, or something. I don't know.
There you go. Yeah.
Load the big IP image on an Xbox. That'd be kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So,
or maybe we write a game that like teaches you TCP and HTTP through a game console or something. That'd be fun.
That'd be a pretty exciting game, no doubt about it. Good to go, man. Well, it's good to see everybody out there. Looks like Josh is out there, so good to see you, my friend Josh. Awesome. Hey, folks. And so yeah, Tony.
I don't know why you would think that, Tony.
Xbox greater than PlayStation. Yeah, who knows? Who knows?
Tony, our fearless leader, used to work on the Xbox team, the Xbox community. So yeah, he's got a lot of love for that console.
No doubt, and rightfully so, right? So maybe if I should take another shot at a game.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, back in February we celebrated 25 years as a company, and we did get our start in gaming, not from a standpoint of producing games, but making games scale for online interactive games. And I think Josh, you're onto something. We should definitely partner with EA or somebody and come up with some kind of a crazy experience. You talk about back on F5 day with no, it wasn't F5 day, but it was like bring your kids to work day or something like that. Last year they built Minecraft, F5 Tower in Minecraft, and that was a big hit with my kids, and I think probably some of the other kids thought that was pretty cool too.
Yeah, it's kind of bringing them all together. I remember back when Pokemon was like such the craze, and everybody's walking around. They're like walking down the street, and it's like, hey, dude, you just walked out in the middle of the traffic, and
walking off a cliff
what in the world? Yeah, but there was the little red ball, like you would shoot, with the little red ball on the Pokemon or whatever on the game. And so a couple of us had talked about we should make that like the F5 ball, basically, and just like shoot F5 packets at people or whatever,
There you go.
So
yeah. Jimmy Packets is the lead. I love it. Jimmy Packets. Better than little Bobby Tables, I gotta say.
The Adventures of Jimmy Packets and Bobby Tables. Awesome, man.
Actually, speaking of the Pokemon Go, one of the robotics teams I have a relationship with, they reached out to me about a project that they're working on, and they had the idea. It's kind of like merging Pokemon Go with Map Your Run. And what they wanted to do is one of the things is the robotics for first LEGO League this year was encouraging, getting outside and exercising and all that. And their idea was like a virtual experience like Pokemon Go, only you'd go to a playground and there would be some kind of an AI that you'd kind of map the playground, and then it would build obstacle courses, like virtual obstacle courses on the playground, for you to be able to compete. And then you could save that one, and then so other people could then come run that same virtual obstacle course and compete against your time and all that. And so I thought that was a pretty good idea. So I gave them some, feedback along the way as they were kind of ideating on how they would actually build something like that. And from the practical aspect, you'd need something like a Google Glass, because you couldn't exactly run with your iPhone in your hand looking at where the obstacle course is, but something like Google Glass would work really well. Is Google Glass still a thing?
Well, I don't know. You said that. I was like, I haven't seen the Google Glass in a while. So maybe you could find one on eBay or something. Who knows?
Maybe.
But that'd be, some people would run with their phone in their hand. They do it all the time anyway, right?
Well, that's true. That's true. But I mean, if you have to climb down the monkey bars, it might be kind of hard with, well, it'd be hard for me single-handedly to just do the swing and jump. Maybe I've seen some of those guys on American Ninja Warrior, and ladies for that matter. They have some mad skills in that regard.
Yeah.
Like the 2-finger ledge hangs and all that. It's like
one of those, like, you're holding on with your teeth on a little tab of something or something crazy like that. Yeah. So awesome.
Josh is saying the HoloLens is that
HoloLens?
Is that like a real product, or?
I don't know. I can only imagine it's kind of like maybe a Google Glass, something that you would wear, So awesome, man. Awesome.
Well, anyway.
Yeah. Well, good stuff. Well, hey, so we, I know, good little chat there. One little thing, I know I normally bring a little icebreaker kind of question, and I saw this headline the other day, and it's just, I don't know, it's such an American thing to do, which it's fantastic, God bless America, right? But I saw where the Pepsi company, PepsiCo, has partnered with a candy manufacturer to create a new flavor of Pepsi this spring. It's available. I think it may be available right now. I don't know. But they partnered together with the Peeps company, the little marshmallow bird things. And now they're doing a Peeps flavored Pepsi Cola. Some people calling it Peepsy. Yes, exactly. Peepsy. Can you imagine what that stuff tastes like? And it just got me to think, like, what's one of the craziest soda or drinks or whatever that you've ever experienced? And maybe while you're thinking about that, I'll say what mine is. I had a chance to tour the Coca-Cola plant, or the Coca-Cola, headquarters in Atlanta, Georgia. This has been several years ago. But you tour through there and they talk about all the Coke, whatever. But then at the very end, they give you little cups and they're like, hey, you can sample whatever you want. And there's all these different, flavors of Coca-Cola products from all over the world. And there was one, I think it was kind of an Eastern European something or another, but it was like a bitter something. The name itself was like something bitter or bitter something. And I was, me being me, of course, I'm like, well, I got to try that one. It can't be that bad. So here we go. And then I drank it and I was like, oh my gosh, crazy, man. So anyway, Peeps flavored Pepsi and bitter Coca-Cola. Anyway, I didn't know if you had thought of like, hey, this is one of those that just doesn't really sit well.
Well, this will probably offend you, Mr. Wagnon, but ski, I hate it.
Okay.
I would like to like it, but I don't. It's horrible, and it's like it's an Illinois thing. They've got a soda bottling company here in Illinois, and the Ski Soda Company, or I don't know. Do they make other things other than soda? But it's terrible. It's real. It's like they try to be Mountain Dew. It's like if you were Mountain Dew, but you tried a little less hard.
Right.
And,
Mountain Dew took a little break. It's like, it's a citrusy kind of flavor, super high in caffeine and sugar content. It's a thing. Ski. This is a little known fact. The Kentucky Headhunters, which is a little known musical group, sang a song called Dumas Walker. And the lyrics or whatever said, hey, let's go down to Dumas Walker. We'll get a slaw burger and fries and a bottle of ski. So there's a reference to ski in that song. And then I believe in the movie Fried Green Tomatoes, there's actually, if you look kind of in the background of one of the little diners or whatever, there's ski on tap there as well. So
wow. So ski's been around for a while then, because that is not a recent movie, John.
No, it's not. It is not. They did not fry those green tomatoes yesterday, as they say. So
no.
Anyway,
well, speaking of Peeps, I'll give a shout out to my son. He's got a YouTube channel. It's Andrew Rom, if you want to go look it up. But we did a Chubby Bunny competition. Maybe it was a month or 6 weeks ago, and one of the things that we did was with Peeps. It was we tried a bunch of different things, and how many of X could you get in your mouth? And Peeps was one of them, and then jelly beans was one of them. But Peeps is I do not like the Peeps. They are not. So like getting them in my mouth even to win a competition was a little challenging. No,
not a happy time.
Not my favorite.
Not a happy time.
No, but it's funny. I'll share it in the show notes. You guys can go laugh at me and my son.
Laugh at the chubby bunny. Yeah, it's an iconic, thing in America, at least. I mean, if you say Peeps, everybody knows what the Peeps are, but I've never met anyone that likes the Peeps. So anyway, but these things happen.
It's kind of like the fruit cake you get at Christmas, right?
Yes.
Nobody likes those things, but everybody ends up getting one.
Everyone gets them. Yeah, I say everyone loves them. Everyone gets them every Christmas. So anyway, all right. Well, I did not mean to derail too much, but that's a fun little starter there. So yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, today we got like a hodgepodge of stuff to talk about today. One, we're gonna look at our first year on DevCentral Connects. Happy anniversary to us, right? This is April 2nd of 2020 was our very first show, and so that was last week was You Want Answers, and that was on the 1st, so we weren't quite there. Well, we're there now, and so we'll pat ourselves on the back. Congrats! We've had a good year. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And we're going to share some moments, but I wanted to share some thoughts from our good friend Peter Silva, who's always in the chat helping us. He's always promoting us on social. Big fan of the show and a big support of the show from the background. So Peter had a few thoughts.
I just want to say congratulations to Jason and John for hitting 1 year doing the DevCentral Connects show. Many of you know I certainly enjoy being in front of the camera, and I certainly do the promos for the show because why not? But probably my favorite memory, but probably the thing I enjoy the most and I'm grateful for is just working behind the scenes with Jason and John, kind of getting the show ready, and then while they're broadcasting live, I kind of hang out behind the scenes, monitoring chat and grabbing statistics and sort of just being the, back in the green room, the, what do they call those, showrunners or producers? I sometimes, think I'm just standing right off stage holding the cue cards for the fellas. So, happy anniversary. Let's keep doing more of these, guys.
Awesome, man.
All right. Peter, thank you from us to you.
That's right.
As much a congratulations for you because, we couldn't do what we're doing without you being in the background helping us out.
Yeah. Yeah, he does a great job, man. Really appreciate Peter Soa.
Yep. So, as we kind of reminisce on what moments kind of stuck out to us, if you guys watching anything, any big memory that you have, any gotcha, aha moment that you've had with a guest that has shared something fantastic, share that. We'd like to call that out. But, my first one would actually be probably back to show number 2. Mm-hmm. And that was when, when COVID became real. And it was real before that, but once it really became real to the world and everything started shutting down and workforces were going home, not too many companies were prepared for scaling what might have been a 5 to 10% workforce to 100% workforce. And then you take that across, however many companies out there have employees who do, computer-based work. And, so our show number 2 was all around our access technology, our access policy manager module on the local traffic manager on Big IP. And so we had a bunch of F5 talent come in all the way from David West in support, who came and just kind of talked through the, kind of the top 10 things that you can look at when you're trying to look at, problems or scale or, anything like that. And so we started with him, and then we went into some, automation techniques with Eric Chen, and then just kind of, building basic policies with Chaz and Jason. And one of the cool moments with Jason is like his son was like watching in the show, and he's like, "Hi, Dad," and like Jason is like, "Oh, that's so cool! Like have my son catch me live on the internet and all that." And so it was a really neat human first moment with Jason, but it was also instructive to us on how valuable the streaming technology can be to reach an audience and bring bring stuff to the audience that maybe they don't get in a print article or a prepared video, but they have an opportunity to engage live with us. Not that we always have the answers, but that live engagement gets that our eyes on it, and we can find answers for you. So anyway, that was one of my big first moments this last year. What about you, John?
Yeah, well, I was going to say I'll save that one for later, but maybe I'll kind of tag onto that. That was one of my favorites as well. So right after we did the first show was like that. Hey, let's just kind of get this thing going. COVID had hit, and everyone's at home, and then it was just really cool to see everyone respond. And there was a lot of views on that show on the the VPN, and it's like, hey, it's tough to kind of scale this out, and how does this look? Everyone working from home, and so it was kind of cool just to see, like, almost right off the bat, like, hey, this is this may be a pretty cool adventure, where we can connect with everyone. And this was our way to say, hey, we love coming out and talking to the community whenever we can at like user groups or conferences or like agility, things like that. But when you can't do that in person, then how do you do that virtually? And so it was just it's been a great year so far. Yeah. So let's, like Peter said, let's keep it going, man.
That's right. All right. And Josh, that's a great segue for my next one. And that's he likes the episodes with John Capobianco and Sebastian Maniac. And yeah, absolutely, the automation. So Sebastian joined us for how do you automate patching your big IPs, and that came after the 5902 vulnerability last summer. And he's like, everybody's talking about patching and how am I going to get in front of this? And he's like, dude, I'd like upgraded 50 in like 20 minutes. It's like, and so we had him on the very next show, which was great. And then with John Capobianco, he and Dan Pacheco joined us from the Parliament in Canada, and they have gone from a completely manual environment 3 years ago to almost exclusively automation in their environment. In fact, I follow him on Twitter, and he's like a kid in a candy store with the automation stuff. It's not like he's just doing it for his job. He eats, breathes, and sleeps automation. And right now he's automating dynamic mapping of his routing tables. And so he'll run some automation, and it's like, oh, this is what my routing table looks like right now, and it has a visualization of that, and it's really cool. So that was a really good show. I really appreciated that show because of his not just the success they had with the automation. Yes,
I bet you love that one, Daniel. I bet you did.
We love that episode because it wasn't just that they got into automation. It's just that they were excited about it, and they were also instructive to the audience. Like, look, we're not special in the standpoint that we've got all this stuff figured out. It's just we knew we had a need, and we just went out and wrestled it to the mat and learned it and built that experience on the way. And by the way, you can do that too. And that was their message. And I love that because, there's a lot of fear, especially for all of us old, or us old timers who've been around forever, and we don't come from a programming background from college or trade school or whatever. And, it's possible. You can learn it. It's really not that scary.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And that's, that's been kind of one of the patterns, or one of the underlying, battle cries, if you will, whatever you want to call it, that it's the idea of just get started, just do something. We talked about that with Brian McHenry and Corey Marshall a couple of weeks ago with Zero Trust. It's like, how do I start this whole Zero Trust journey? And the answer, frankly, is just start, and not to say that no one's ever going to give you any kind of direction, but rather just take one little step and then take another little step. And that's been true. I found that inspiring and fascinating with John and Dan with their automation stuff, because they talked about, the budget is such a struggle with, anytime you're in government, especially IT government, it's not like your boss is going to be like, hey, here's tons of money. It's a blank check. You buy whatever you want. No, not at all. Not at all. In fact, if you can do it for free, that's actually how you get stuff done. and
Right.
they were able to, and so that, but they didn't let that stand in their way. They still pressed on and found, open source stuff, and they were able to do all those amazing things. So anybody can do it. Yeah.
Yeah. And to quote Miss Frizzle from the Magic School Bus, get dirty, make mistakes. It's
That's right.
You don't learn. And in fact, one of my old bosses, we went on a ski trip back in the early 2000s, and he'd yell at me all the time. It's like, Rom, if you ain't falling, you ain't learning. Because like I get to the end, it's like, Kip didn't fall today. He's like, apparently you're not skiing hard enough.
That's right. That's right. It's like, can I learn how to fall gracefully and it not hurt so bad? Maybe that's one of the things I need to learn.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
did you have a second one?
Yeah,
John?
yeah. So I had a couple more actually. Did you have three also? I just want to make sure on the same.
I do. I got another one. Yeah. So
good to go. All right. So let me say my second one, and then we can do our third one. The second one is kind of a compilation. It was all the 5902, the CVE 2020-5902 episodes that we did. And, many of you may remember the big CVE vulnerability last year. It's crazy, don't expose your, don't expose your management interface to the internet or whatever. It's just that's a good rule of thumb, right? Yeah. But it was a big thing. And we had actually several episodes, and I just thought it was really cool that, number one, we were committed to the community. And I say we, it wasn't just me or you, it was the whole F5.
We F5, yeah.
Everybody. And we were able to, to come online quickly, because of this platform that we've started. And I just thought it was really cool to be able to use that and connect. And so, some days it's, in fact, hopefully a lot of days these are good stories. These are inspiring stories of saying, hey, let's get out there and automate, or let's move to zero trust, or let's, learn how to fire up Ansible and Terraform and, all this goodness. Right. But then there's some days where it's like, man, something really crazy just went down, and we need to share that with you, and we need to get through this thing together. And I appreciated that, that community aspect of it, where we say, hey, we collectively, all of F5 are in this with all of you, our customers, our users, and we're going to walk this road with you. And, and it was very transparent. It was very open and honest. And I appreciated that.
Yeah. And speaking of that, I'll hand out an award. Sorry, you don't get anything for this award, but one of our awards from this year, it would be our Iron Man award, and that would be for Mr. Brian McHenry.
Yes.
Because I think he was part of all 5 of those 5902 experiences, as well as he's been on the show for a couple other episodes this year. So, he comes up to 7, I think was his 7 episodes of DevCentral Connects this year.
Nice.
In our first year. So Brian McHenry, congratulations, Iron Man of DevCentral Connects. And
that's right. He is not human, to quote, what is it, Rocky IV? He's not.
Oh yeah, Ivan Drago.
That's right. That's right.
Just like a piece of iron. Hit the one in the middle, Rock.
That's right. That's right. Awesome, man.
Okay,
right,
so,
what was your third one?
My third one was actually the psychometrician. Jill, it was at Vandenwall. When we did a few episodes on certification, because there's a lot of traffic on certification, both on LinkedIn, on in DevCentral, a lot of questions around getting certified. And everybody's asking about the test. Why are tests, why is the test still on X version when we're all the way forward on this? And so, getting to dig into the details of not just why tests are on the versions they're on, because it just takes a lot of time to really validate and certify not just the questions, but the answers within the questions. And, is the right answer a good answer, not from the standpoint of is it right or wrong, but it is, when you look at the spread of people who miss the question and who get the question and their performance on everything else, and kind of looking at all the analytics behind that, it's just like mind blowing the level of effort that goes into that. And, granted, for those of you who were here for that show, I didn't even get to be in that show. I was in the hospital, barely being able to breathe from COVID. Yeah. And so, but I joined and watched that show. I don't know if I watched it live or I watched it a couple of days later. That those 10 days in the hospital, a little foggy.
Yeah,
But I didn't want to miss that because I was so intrigued by the content. So that'd probably be my third favorite.
yeah,
But,
that's awesome,
I mean,
man.
not to disparage any other show we've done, because I like them all, and
Right.
and they've all been a lot of fun. But
Yeah.
that'd probably be my third moment that popped out of me as I was thinking about that.
Yeah,
And,
no, that's cool.
And real quick, Josh, on your comment, get dirty, make mistakes, push to prod on Fridays. Yes, no.
Yep, that's awesome. Push to prod on Fridays. Actually, Josh, if you really want to get crazy, don't ever push to prod. Just everything's prod. It's the, hey, I don't always test, but when I do, it's on production, right? Kind of an idea. We live on prod. So,
Augustin, where is everybody? So me personally, I am in the Midwest of the United States. I'm in the St. Louis area, just on the Illinois side of the Mississippi River.
Yeah. So physically located. That's right. I'm just kind of southwest of that. So yeah, awesome, man. So physically, that's where we are. In terms of virtually, we are all right here because it's DevCentral Connects, right? So that's awesome. Yeah, good stuff. Well, hey,
that would be a fun diagram to see. It's like, for where are we all, just to see the bits tracing from you, where you are and where I am, all the way into StreamYard, and then dispersed to all the streaming platforms, and then out to everybody else. That would be I would love to see that visualization.
Yeah, no doubt. Or even something more simplistic. If we had some kind of like virtual globe, like map, of the world, and everyone could come in and just kind of put their virtual pin in to see like where everybody's sitting right now. That'd be kind of cool. So yeah, that'd be awesome.
That'd be cool.
Awesome. Well, hey, I'm glad you're feeling better from the COVID. I think you're all better now. And one thing I was going to say too is that all these shows are recorded, so you can always go back on our YouTube channel and watch them all. So that's a benefit.
That's right. Yep. And Peter's sharing some of the ones that we're mentioning. He's sharing them there in the comments. You've got the how to update Big IP. That was the one Sebastian was on. This is the Capobianco and Pacheco episode. Yeah. And then this is the psychometrician.
Gone psycho. That one was psychedelic, man. Psycho, not a psycho-magician, a psychometrician. So just to clarify, whatever. Good stuff. Well, hey, maybe I'll mention my third one, and then we can kind of move on to the next stuff. But we did one with Jean-Luc on ransomware. And I found that one fascinating, just talking about, what is ransomware, but then some of the stories around it. And there was that one story out of Germany where this patient had, died, and they kind of blamed the ransomware a bit about like, hey, well, all the hospital records were locked up with encryption and they didn't know what, medicine to give or whatever. And then Jean-Luc, because we mentioned that story, and Jean-Luc was like, well, the hospital might be at fault a little bit in the sense that instead of the attack, the attacker needs to not do that stuff, obviously, but the hospital's supposed to keep like written records so that if all the systems go down, they can still, do what they're supposed to do. And I found that fascinating. That was just a really cool show.
Yeah, I don't know what the laws are here in the States, but there's certainly none of that written records going on at any of the clinics I've been to in the last several years. It's all,
it's all, yep.
And so I don't think there's any paper copy going on in the background. I do remember when I worked for Enterprise, they were still trained even when I left in 2008. They were still trained on paper and the computer just in case the terminals went down. Yeah, and so they could still rent cars on paper. They didn't like that. And it certainly wasn't as sufficient a process, but they could do it.
They could do it. Yeah, it's better than nothing, Yep. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, so it's been some great moments. And those are not even all of them. Obviously, there's but those are a few highlights, I guess, from both of us. So it's kind of cool to kind of look back a little bit. And
for sure. And Jen out V, thank you. Appreciate that. And from the Czech Republic. So if you're pinning,
nice.
There
you go, man. Plug that one in. I love it.
That's right. Love it.
It's also cool. I'll mention this like super quick. It's a lot of people that, join and comment and all that. We love to hear from everybody. And a lot of people, use their name, which is cool, but some of them use a little, pseudo name or whatever. And so on one, I think this was one that we were doing with Tyler Hatton. It was one of the live labs on either Terraform or Ansible. It may have been Terraform. Anyway, this one person kept commenting, and his name was spelled TACO CAT. So it was Taco Cat, which is spelled backwards and forward the same. So it's T's on the end, and then A, and then C, and then there's an O in the middle. So Taco Cat. But when I first looked at it, I was like, Takawa T? What is that? We're so happy to see you, Takawa T. And then he was like, no, it's Taco Cat. And I was like, so it was like, boom, of course.
Yes, the palindrome.
The palindrome. That's right.
Yep.
That's awesome. It's always good to see everybody.
Yeah, that's a fun little coding exercise. If you're just like looking for an exercise to polish your skills, is take a string in and check on whether it's a palindrome or not. And, that's a fun little coding exercise.
Yeah.
Twags 10, you couldn't read it anyway. Doctor's handwriting's worse than my coding skills. I don't know how bad your coding skills are, but doctor's handwriting usually pretty bad.
Yeah. You couldn't do it. So Awesome, man. Yeah, it looks like Pete Silva may have just dropped that one link for the Terraform lab. So if you want to see me messing up the name Takawa T or whatever, Taco Cat, you can watch that. That's awesome.
Yep. And the ransomware one with John Luke. That's that one.
Yeah, that was super cool.
Yep.
Good to go. All right.
So let's talk about agility. Again, if you haven't registered for agility yet, get out there, get registered. It's April 20th to the 22nd. You do not want to miss it. There's all kinds of crazy good labs that I'm going to participate in. I'm not teaching them, but I'm going to actually partake in the labs. Some killer breakout sessions, lightning sessions, some discussion panels. So a lot of good content. Usually you have to pay for agility. So this is your opportunity to get amazing content for free. Mm-hmm. And so highly suggest you do that. And because of that, agility is happening 2 weeks from today. There is no DevCentral Connects on that day. We will be doing a live session at Agility. And so if you want to join us there, you can do so. But we will not be streaming to the normal BAT channels on the 22nd.
Yep.
But John will be here for Security Sidebar next week.
That's right.
And of course, I'll be back here for You Want Answers April 29th. So, show goes on as normal after Agility. But that's kind of what our schedule looks like for the coming weeks. Yep. And so, on that, just from a preview of Agility, I had a couple different sessions that of course, a lot of them seem really exciting, and I'm looking forward to them. A lot of the labs look really killer. But I took like one breakout, one lab, one lightning session, and one discussion forum to just kind of highlight. And my lab would be the 401 Big IP APM automation, the Access 401 lab. And it was interesting because I've talked to Jason Wilburn, who was on our number 2 show, and he's actually done quite a bit of automation in APM that I didn't think was possible. In fact, a lot of people, even internal to F5, didn't know was possible. But he's been kind of poking and prodding at the API and has bent it to his will. And so some of the stuff that I've seen him do with it's pretty darn exciting. And so I'm excited about being able to sit in a lab and do that one. Yeah. And I don't know if you had a lab that caught your eye, John.
Yeah, I hadn't looked as much at the labs, but frankly, there's a lot of automation stuff, like you said. I mean, automation with APM. And there's a lot of Kubernetes stuff. So maybe I'll just kind of wrap in. There is a Kubernetes OpenShift integration with Big IP Lab that I think is going to be really cool. A lot of people are moving to automation and orchestration and containers and all that stuff, And then maybe on the heels of that, I'll just quickly mention there's some breakouts around automation with Kubernetes. I think it's called production grade Kubernetes. There's a part 1 and 2 and 3. So you really can dive deep into that stuff if you want to. And so anyway, just that's it. That's just such a hot topic right now. It's so hot right now. And so I thought that was a really cool opportunity for people to learn.
Yeah. Dan had a comment here that lab registration wasn't open yet. I think you're right. I think it's April 10th or somewhere in there. I forget the day that the lab registration opens up. 12th.
Actually,
There's Leslie.
Leslie just popped in there.
Should open up on the April 12th. Yeah. So the labs themselves, I'm just assuming I'm going to get in because I'm an F5er and I'm a big deal, right? No, I may not get a slot. So thank you for that correction, Daniel. I may not actually get that lab that I want to sit in so bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the lab I'm most excited for. Whether I get into it or not, I don't know, because registration doesn't happen until the 12th.
Yep.
So the things you learn.
Cool.
The other thing that I thought the breakout that I wanted to attend is everything you need to know about Quick and HTTP 3. I filled a light board a while ago about Quick, but that was in the infancy of Quick and HTTP 2 and adoption, at least on your big IP platform, and it's getting more mature. I don't think the actual standard is set yet on HTTP 3. I could be wrong about that. It might be another protocol I'm thinking about, but they're kind of fiddling with the final versions, and so there are draft versions of that that we support.
Yeah.
But I'll have to look at that specifically. But anyway, I'm looking forward to that session because typically or traditionally HTTP rides along TCP, but now with the advent of Quick being a UDP based protocol, well then the control flow or the flow control mechanisms and all that kind of have to exist either within Quick or HTTP3 or some kind of a relationship sharing in there, and so that's interesting, and I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, that'll be cool. That'd be cool. One other one I was going to mention quickly on breakouts, the different sessions, is stuff around zero trust. That's another hot one right now. So there's a couple of options there. There's zero trust, like the NIST zero trust architecture. And so saying, hey, it's not just for federal agencies anymore. Like there's a lot of good information you can glean from the NIST zero trust architecture. And then more generally, there's one about zero trust and just how do you bridge that chasm of, from where you are today to zero trust. So anyway, so I think that'll be kind of cool to learn more about zero trust, what it means and how you can get there.
Yeah, you could do that, or we could just invite Brian and Corey back to teach us everything they shared or learned in those sessions.
Mm-hmm.
We did a session on zero trust with those guys a couple weeks ago on this show. So certainly never a shortage of things to learn around all these topics. Zero trust being one of those that's gaining speed in the industry. And right on, Augustin, just awesome, registered man. For Agility. Good deal. Look forward to seeing you there.
Beautiful.
And then we have a comment using REST API from F5 to buy BTC.
Buy some Bitcoin.
Maybe, yeah.
It's worth a couple of dollars today.
Just a few.
Just a few. I love it.
All right, and then I'll put my last two together, kind of the Agility Lightning session and the discussion forum. The Lightning session, modern apps in the wild, kind of just breaks down what the heck is a modern app and why is it wild and how does it get there. So that's like the really short abbreviated talk. Look forward to that one. And then the discussion forum around modern application ecosystems, simplifying the build process, and I'm looking forward to that only because it's intimidating. If you look out at the cloud ecosystem architecture or cloud native ecosystem, I mean it's just huge, and in the number of categories, let alone the number of providers within each category, it can be intimidating. And so looking at it from a standpoint of, hey, let's break this down, let's bring it in, let's put some intelligence and analysis around what we're talking about, so that you can feel a little bit stronger and a little bit more prepared for how you're going to do that in your own environment. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. So many great things, man. And I mean, we've just kind of touched the surface. But yeah, everybody can go out there to that site and Agility and register and check it out. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So, and then just another quick plug. I know you mentioned that you and I are going to be doing the live show instead of DevCentral Connects that Thursday. We'll be doing an actual live interactive thing at Agility. We're actually going to do that on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday. So it'll kind of be all about Agility, and we'll talk about the sessions and, what happened that day, what's coming up. Yeah.
Yep.
So,
well, and if you're in the Asia Pacific and China, Japan, that area, we're doing a late show as well. So I don't know the exact time yet. We'll maybe have that ready for next week. But we're doing a late show as well, so you can catch us live. Well, late for us, maybe morning.
Yeah. I think it's going to land, generally speaking, kind of late morning-ish time frame around like the Japan, Singapore, Indonesia area.
Yeah, I think
that's
right.
Kind of late morning, so it gives a little wiggle room if you're a few time zones away from that.
Yep.
So perfect.
Okay. Well, John, Bitcoin.
Yes, Bitcoin come back. Bitcoin come back.
What do we need to learn about Bitcoin and what's this craziness?
Well, the thing that you need to learn is if you're ever given some Bitcoin and you hide the password in an encrypted, vault, don't forget the password to that encrypted vault. So that's the thing. That's the story. So many of you have probably heard this story, but I'm going to tell it to you in case you haven't. So there's a guy named Stefan Thomas. He was born in Germany. He's a programmer. He's a developer, programmer. And back in 2011, he got approached by this early enthusiast of Bitcoin. And the early enthusiast said, "Hey, I'll give you like a few thousand Bitcoin if you will make this little YouTube video about what is Bitcoin." And it's still out there today. It's like 1 minute 43 seconds long. It's not that long, but it's a very simple explanation of what is Bitcoin. And so in exchange for Stefan making this little video about what is Bitcoin, he got 7,002 Bitcoin, right? In exchange for making this little video. And he was like, "All right, that's awesome. That's cool." And he put it in this encrypted drive, this little encrypted key thing. I don't know if it's a USB drive or whatever. And he saved his Bitcoin password to open his Bitcoin wallet, right? Because Bitcoin's made so that, it's this cryptocurrency, digital currency. So you have to have, you have a digital wallet that holds the Bitcoin, but you'll need a password or, some kind of a authentication to get into that wallet, right? And so there was a password to get into that wallet. Well, in order to kind of, save that or protect that, he put that password in this encryption technology, this little, USB or this drive or whatever that's encrypted with this encryption called iron key encryption. Well, iron key allows you to, you have a password for that as well, right? So you have to put in your password. Let's say you have an iron key USB and you put it in your computer and you want to read the contents of that, you need to type in the password, to read the contents of the iron key encrypted data. Well, his Bitcoin wallet password was in that iron key device, right? And iron key is built in such a way that it gives you 10 tries to put in a password. Yeah, Bitcoin's a little over 50 grand today. It was like $60,000 a Bitcoin. So, man, over $400 million is what we're talking about here. It's crazy. It's crazy. $400 million. Well, what this guy did, Stefan, he was like, hey, he wrote it down. He wrote his password down on a sheet of paper, but then he lost the sheet of paper, but he also had it in this iron key encrypted little device, this little, whatever drive that he had. And so he's like, okay, no problem. I'll just go into the iron key drive. I'll get my Bitcoin wallet, password, and then I'll be able to get to my Bitcoin wallet and I can sell or exchange or whatever my Bitcoin. It's like Leslie just pointed out, it's over $400 million today. So this is not a small amount of money. And so
anyway, that's what they call stupid money, where you get to the point.
You can buy an island in the Caribbean or something. Who knows? So anyway, so he puts the thing in and then he's like, oh my goodness, I forgot the password to the iron key device that holds my Bitcoin password, right? And you can't remember the Bitcoin password. Well, so now the IronKey device gives you 10 chances to like, authenticate to that device. If you type in the wrong password 10 times, then it automatically encrypts everything on that drive, and it's completely unusable. And so yeah, it's crazy town. So as of the latest that I've seen, he's tried eight times to put a password in that thing, and they've all been wrong. And so then of course, it's in your head. You're like, oh, we're talking about $400 million here that I have access to. It's like mine. I just can't get to it. So what do? It's a crazy story,
I think about the guys that like there's a guy somewhere in Indiana. I think he does the malware keys that he releases onto his website as he starts to understand the ransomware that comes out, and he's able to break their encryption, and then he just publishes those keys. I wonder if that guy should just, hey, I'll give you 30% of the take if you just help me, when I inevitably encrypt all of the contents of my IronKey. It's like, help me break that encryption, and then I'll give you 30% of the take. I bet he'll stay pretty active trying to make that happen.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I mean, every 10% of that is $40 million. So that's not a bad payday. Yeah. So now, so he said that he's just kind of like, laid awake at night, just kind of staring and thinking, all right, what is the password? But then there's that nervous moment. You sit down at the keyboard, you're like, all right, I got 2 shots left. Is this one of them, right? And if I type it in, what if I hit the caps lock key, or what if I hit, whatever, right? And it's just going to be so in your head, and you're going to hit enter, and it's going to be like, wrong password. And you're like, oh my God, you just wasted one of your shots. So it's crazy. Another little known, well, maybe it's not little known, but another kind of interesting fact about Bitcoin, the way that this whole cryptocurrency, Bitcoin specifically, was created, is that there is a finite number of Bitcoin that will ever be mined for. So there's all this mining that goes on. There's a lot of malware. People will, they'll come in and try to take over your machine so that your machine will mine for their Bitcoin or whatever. There's a lot of that goes on, but there's only 21 million Bitcoin that will ever be created. Once the 21 millionth Bitcoin is created, Bitcoin, it's not that it does not exist, it's that there will never be another Bitcoin created. So then you've got the fullness of the population of Bitcoin at that point. And I read some stats that there's about it took about 10 years roughly. So about 10 years Bitcoin's been around. And there's about a little over 18.5 million Bitcoin that have been mined so far. But many experts say that it's going to take probably another 120 years to mine the remaining 2.5 or so, not quite 2.5 million Bitcoin, which is fascinating that it's like, you ramp up. It's not a linear progression, it's kind of this exponential sort of thing or whatever, but it's going to take a long time. So it's going to be, well past our lifetimes when the last Bitcoin is mined. I just thought that was kind of a fascinating thing.
Yeah, that's crazy. Almost like more of a decay algorithm than an exponential function.
Well, yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's a reverse of that. It's like it just falls off. Yeah. No, you're right.
Right.
You're right.
That's crazy.
Hang on. Leaf had a great comment here. Sometimes you see those gender reveal parties, where the people are figuring out, is it a boy, is it a girl, whatever. What an unboxing video that would be if he were to get the right password. $400 million video. That's
holy cow.
That'd be crazy. That'd be crazy.
Well, speaking of Leaf, I have something I want to share, and this is for the community at large. We would like to start peppering in some like just witticisms or life hacks or troubleshooting techniques or anything that you would want to share in a video that's 60 seconds or less. It could just be a talking head. It could be you at a prompt, and it doesn't have to be like F5 specific technology. It could be, here's how you set up your SSH keys, or, this is how you alias your top 5 commands you run every time you troubleshoot X. But for an example, Leaf shared one on how you support your family's IT needs. And so this isn't a life hack. This is a Leaf hack.
All right, so my troubleshooting tip is brought to you from the great outdoors, which is someplace where you'd rather be some of the time. My name is Leaf Zimmerman, and I'm on the DevCentral team, and several years ago, I forced my family to all use Gmail, macOS, and iOS when we started getting mobile devices so that I only had to support one type of technology. I didn't need to spend more time learning Android. I figured when they move out and I want to play, then I'll learn it. But until then, preserve my time.
I love that. The Leaf hack.
The Leaf hack. And maybe that's what we just need to call that segment. It's like, it's not life hack. It's Leaf hacks.
It's a Leaf hack. It's a Leaf. I love that he's standing outside, man. Let's head outside and enjoy the trees and the grass and the beautiful weather. But yeah, man, we've all been there. It's like, hey, ain't nobody got time for that, to learn 5 different operating systems and troubleshooting and all that stuff. We all get those phone calls. Hey, can you help me? Can you help me fix this thing? Right. Which inevitably, Jason, I know you like to go to that IT crowd moment, right?
Oh my goodness, yes. Did you turn it off and did you turn it on again?
That's it.
In fact, the guy, one of the guys in that show, it's not Chris O'Dowd, it's Richard Ado. I don't know how to say his last name.
That's where you just say Ado, and that's it. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. He's hilarious in that show, but I think he's playing himself in that show because he has a couple different shows. One's called Travel Man and one's called Gadget Man. And my wife and I watched the first episode of Gadget Man last night, and he is ridiculously funny. I mean, it's I like laugh out loud constantly. He seems to be a very witty guy. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But yeah, thank you, Leaf, for that, and I'm on board with you. I made a mistake and bought my daughter a Windows laptop and regretted it immediately. I mean, the power button fell off in a matter of like weeks after we got it. That's it. Ayo Ade, I think. Yep, Richard Ayo Ade.
Ayo Ade, whatever. Yep.
But yeah, and constantly, it's like if we're out and about and she's trying to connect to public Wi-Fi, there's like an 18-step process in the command line in order for it to connect to public Wi-Fi. Like, this is nuts. So I won't make that mistake again. Just one operating, and it's not that it's the Windows, it's the problem. It's just I've been on Mac for so long. It's like I've kind of forgotten a lot of the Windows sysadmin stuff, and so but that she's got the only Windows box in the house, and so I'm completely on board. So anyway, community, if you have stuff like that to share. If you have FI specific knowledge you want to share in a 60-second or less video, record it, send it to us, and we'll feature you on one of our future shows.
Yeah, you could be the lead. The next.
John, we were going to do a demo today, but we have 7 minutes left, so I think I'm going to pass on that today.
Yeah,
because there's no way we can fit it in time.
Yeah,
and I'll just maybe I'll do that on You Want Answers here in a few weeks. Because it's related to patching. We don't need to take up a time in the main show on that coming forward. But I'll just go through that in a few weeks. But we did have one more story to talk about, and that is this one that Wired had on spying eyes everywhere, and it's crazy that. It's not just the fact that eyes are listening everywhere. It's not just video. It's sensors of all kind, like audio sensors and light sensors and, all these different things that they're listening to police scanners and hospital scanners. And it's one thing to have that information targeted for the people it was originally intended for. So for the police to be able to be about their police business and the hospitals to be about their hospital business, even traffic cameras to be about managing traffic and watching flow and either just I know that some of them use the traffic cams to be able to auto update speed limits. So they say, okay, we're getting a traffic jam 4 miles ahead, so we're going to slow you down to maybe 45 miles an hour. That's of course assuming people follow the speed limits, which sometimes they don't. But you have all this information out there, and they even say in the article, it's like we're information, or we're data rich but information poor. Or is that backwards? Anyway, but the point is they have companies now who are becoming intermediaries, and they're aggregating all of this data. And at this point, they're private companies, but they're aggregating the feeds from hospital and police and circuit cameras for traffic, and then maybe even coffee shop cameras and all that. And they're taking all of this stuff, and it's becoming like this person of interest. I don't know if you're familiar with that show, but years and years ago, you had the man in the suit and the programmer who was the bad guy on Lost. And anyway, he was the good guy on Person of Interest. But basically, it's this couple of guys who are taking on this entity called the machine, and or taking on the bad guys who are trying to take ownership of the machine, whether it's a government entity or another private interest company. But the concept there is the machine is kind of all knowing, and it can detect whether you're going to be a perpetrator or a victim in a situation, and then this team of guys would go to work trying to figure out which one they were, whether they were the victim or the perpetrator, and then handle that appropriately. But the level of just intro, I'm struggling for the word, but just the way that our privacy is not just given to those we sign off on, but to those that we haven't signed off on.
Yeah.
And the story talks about the article author talks about how he was brought in and shown how kind of the AI behind taking all those feeds in and being able to say, put in a name and they're able to see their digital footprint, but also their physical footprint of where they've been in the city, where their car has driven, what shops they've been into, all based on the data coming in from facial recognition, audio recognition, license plate transitions around the town, receipts, and all that kind of stuff. It's pretty scary.
It's an amazing and crazy world we live in, no doubt. And in fact, in that article specifically, the guy was in this place, like this kind of command and control, whatever, in France, in Paris, like right around the Arc de Triomphe. But they were looking at live feeds for the city of Chicago, Illinois, in the United States. And it's like, so it's talking about a global, thing going on.
Right.
And then also, just to look at the resolution and the capabilities of a lot of these recognition, whether it's facial or, fingerprint biometric, whether it's, license plate recognition, whatever. It's just gotten so much better over the years. And there was a story not long ago about a guy who, I think it was some kind of predator doing some criminal kind of stuff, whatever. And the cops were trying to figure out who this person was. And turns out this external entity had this really sophisticated software that could really, take a kind of low res picture and then match it very well. And they found the guy in like a screenshot of like a Facebook picture from this conference in Las Vegas, but he wasn't even the main one in the picture. Right. He was the guy way back here at some small, booth that there was a little table, and it was kind of half of his face pointed down or something. And he's way in the background, and they caught it off of that. Yeah. And it's like, wow. And there was another one. There was this perpetrator, whatever, trying to find this one female at one point, and he caught the reflection off of her eyeball in like a camera shot. Yeah. He was able to see like, oh, I can see like the outline of a building and a tree and whatever from the reflection off of her eye in the like selfie picture she took. And then he was able to take that and like, kind of triangulate the location. And you start thinking about the capability of all this. It's a crazy thing, man.
Yeah, and with good analysts, it might take them I think the article said it might take them a couple of weeks to kind of dig through the data and come down to an idea of what happened. But with these new machines and stuff, they can do it in a matter of hours,
Yeah.
or a matter of days. And so that's pretty scary. And
Yeah.
but when there's a will, there's a way. And
right.
the scary thing is yes, I don't like the fact that a private company is doing this, but I really don't like the idea of an entire government doing this, because that gets into spooky town big time.
Yeah. Crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff. Well, hey, I know we're just about at time here, right? It's right around that moment. Not to leave everybody on a bad note. The good news is technology is amazing, and
it is
all
amazing.
the stuff that's happening, and it's better to know about it and kind of stay up to date on all of it, and be right there with it, rather than be like, whoa, man, I'm 20 steps behind. I didn't even realize it was going on. So anyway, and if anyone
and to realize what you can control from a privacy standpoint and what you can't.
Yeah, right.
Because some things just aren't really worth losing sleep over.
Yeah. Unless you have over $400 million of Bitcoin and you can't remember your password, maybe that'll make you lose some sleep.
Oh man.
So
yeah, that's crazy. So you have a security sidebar next Thursday.
Week, yeah. Just a little teaser for those that have kind of stuck around or will watch this later. Talking to one of our guys in the security incident response team. So this team is like, man, they're right on the tip of the spear. How do you deal with incidents and respond to those? And it's gonna be really cool. Kind of a day in the life of that, and how do they manage all that stuff?
Good deal.
Yep, a lot of fun. Well, it's been a great show, Jason.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean that hour flew by. I was like, it was like, oh yeah, we got plenty of time to demo, and then boom, it's like 3:23. I'm like, I don't even know where that hour went. So,
Jason,
I apologize to those of you who showed up for the demo. If you want, ping me. Ping me and my email, j.rom@f5.com, and I'll send you what I have, and then maybe I'll just record a video of it and then share that out.
Yep.
And then you guys can watch that offline.
Yep, that's super cool. Awesome, man. Well, hey, so thanks, Jason, and thanks to everybody out there for participating. And this is just kind of a fun show where we can kind of hang out together, and no special guest per se today, but it's just fun to connect with everybody and just kind of have a moment to share some cool stories and kind of talk technology and community. So it's been a lot of fun.
That's right. All right. Well, we will see. John, we'll see you next Thursday, same time, 12:30 Pacific.
That's
and then join us at Agility in 2 weeks. We'll be in and around all week. Take care.
Right. Great to see everybody. All right. Bye-bye.